but they win last night. Had to come back in the ninth inning to take it after having a 4-0 lead in this game early. Tarek Skubal on the mound had good stuff, but then got hit around a little bit, gave up 3 runs, including a 2-run shot to Nolan Arenado, and then did not make it out of the 6th inning, but left with a lead, and the Tigers able to force another run over the plate in the 9th inning, thanks to the hero of the game, which is Riley Green. What a game he had. 2-run homer, ended up with 4 of the 5 RBIs. He had an RBI single in the 1st inning, and then the double in the gap that scored McKinstry. Nice base running by McKinstry. Saw that it was in the gap right away on a deep fly ball, kind of a line drive fly, and just took off running and scored from first base rather easily. That's what the Tigers do, man. They just run the bases really well.
They've been very good at it, and there are metrics that follow it that say one of the best teams getting from first to third in the league. But let's get to what we're talking about here, Gator. Like what I'm seeing, but I'm starting to worry a little bit about. Is there anything in particular you're starting to worry about? Just a little. Not we're not panicking, not MFing a guy, but
I mean, just a little, right?
Yep.
Like we said, it's just a little bit. Yeah, there's one that's just a little bit. Trey Sweeney is 1 for his last 16, but he's played well at shortstop, reasonably well at short. But I wonder if water is finding its level with him. Did he just get on a heater and really look like he was commanding the strike zone against right-handed pitching and just murdering right-handed pitching? Or is he what he is, which is fine? He's maybe at best an average shortstop, and we'll see, because his OPS numbers aren't great, but you know he's played well, and he had that stretch where he was great. I'm a little concerned there. And the other one I had was Javi Baez, as great as he has been in center field, he has been great in center field. And if you put his numbers up against other center fielders, when he's only playing as a center fielder, he's still hitting well above 300 with a really high OPS and a bunch of defensive runs saved. I mean, his defensive metrics are off the charts there as well. But Javi is 1 for his last 19. Is he falling back into some bad habits? Now, he actually isn't when you look at the strikeout numbers, okay?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Even though last night you could see, hey, is he going to chase this pitch? Please don't chase that pitch. And he would chase the pitch. But he didn't strike out in the game last night. He has struck out 10 times in his last 57 at-bats. That's not a huge number. It's less than 20% strikeout rate, which is still pretty good for him. So actually the strikeout numbers are still okay. So I'm, even though he's not getting hits in his last 19 at-bats with just the one, I'm not as worried about Javi as I am about Trey Sweeney.
So I'm starting to worry a little bit about Tyler Holton. And this guy has spent 2 years being exceptionally good for the Tigers and given quite a heavy workload. In 23, he had 59 appearances. In 24, he had 66 appearances. His ERA those 2 years, 2.11 and 2.19. His walks and hits per innings pitch, 0.87 and 0.78. His batting average against, 185 and 173.
Wow.
These numbers are off the charts. Now that we got a bit of a sample size in 2025, interesting, his strikeouts per 9 innings, up. But his walk rate is up. Opposing hitters are hitting 256 against him. And, talk about a dude that was incredibly useful in high leverage situations, opener or late in games.
Whatever it took.
He was a Swiss Army knife out of the bullpen. And I think we've seen enough this year to go, okay, paging Dr. Fetter. Paging Dr. Fetter.
Time to get fettered up again?
Time to get fettered up, because something hasn't been right with Tyler Holton. And, I don't think he was overachieving. He did it for 2 full seasons in plenty of appearances. I don't think people have caught up to him, right? I mean, he's been large sample sizes, very, very good. So what's going on?
It's walks, isn't it? I mean,
the walks are up, but so is the batting average. I mean, it's not just the walks. Like I said, the walk rate is up and the batting average against is up like 80 points.
I think they can go hand in hand, because if you're not finding the plate enough and you start walking guys, then guys can just sit on a certain pitch in a certain location, because they know that if you're struggling to find a plate, you're going to have to throw a cookie now and then. I think everything starts with your walk rate. You got to get that under control. Unless you have a crazy high 90s or 3-digit fastball, you can be a little wild with that. But if you don't have that, then that can be troublesome. And I imagine this is something that can be worked out. But yeah, I hear you.
I mean, this isn't a crisis.
No,
it's not a panic moment.
No, and it's 7 walks in 21 innings. So it's do the math on that. It's 1 per 3 innings he'll walk somebody. But as a leverage, bullpen arm, you don't want to walk anybody.
No, and there's a lot of baseball to be played, and I think some of the overachieving that we've talked about that feels like it might be overachieving, that we're concerned might be overachieving, worried about water finding its level here a little bit. There are other guys that can give more, and there's no question that if Vierling comes back and he's Matt Vierling, and maybe to a lesser extent, there's not quite the longer track record for Parker Meadows, but 2023 second half Parker Meadows, when he shows up, he can make up for some of these offensive guys.
Those are all-star numbers.
But I'm not sure that is there bullpen help on the way if necessary? There really isn't, is there?
No.
So that's where they might have to go outside the organization.
Yes.
And you said it earlier about going to find bullpen arms, which, standard operating procedure if you are a contending team. From Sam in Keego Harbor, I'm very nervous about the bullpen right now. Definitely seems an area we can improve. We have lots of depth in the system to use for trades. Yep. I think it'd be well advised not to fall in love with any prospects.
Yeah, their whole pitching staff at Erie at Double-A ball is very good. Like, I think they lead the Eastern League in ERA. It's very low. Whether it's starters or bullpen guys, they've done very well there. But that's Double-A, and that's still a ways away before you get bumped up to Triple-A and then bump up to the majors. But I do think that they should pay it, and I'm sure that Scott Harris is doing this, paying attention to who's available, who's doing what, and at some point you're going to make some moves.
Price could be high, though, all right, because there's more teams that think they're going to be in this thing. And it's, since the Tigers were last a contending team, the playoff format has changed. And the way the playoff format has changed, it's led to more contending teams, more teams battling for playoff spots, so more buyers, less sellers.
Do you think it helps that all the teams in the Central, with the exception of the White Sox, are good? So that takes away maybe some of that thought that other teams have a real shot because, well, wait a minute, these teams in the Central are killing it.
If they create a wide enough gap when we get to the trade deadline, I mean, I don't care what division they're in, but if there's 7 teams competing for 6 spots and the rest in the American League are just pretenders, that would help, yes. It probably would help more if it were National League teams. But anyway, so something to consider. Feedback coming in. The Tigers need to go all out for Mason Miller or Ben Joyce. So Ben Joyce, the Angels relief arm, and Mason Miller, the A's relief arm. Tigers need to go out for Mason Miller or Ben Joyce. Get that legit nasty closer, and both those guys have years and years of control. Guys like, I think he says guys like that is what he meant, but guys like that would make them a legit World Series contender. For a guy like Rogers, sure, he's a great receiver, but he's not that good at the plate. That's from Phil. I don't think they don't want Rogers. They want your prospects.
Correct. And Mason Miller he's a strikeout machine. He has 173 career strikeouts in 114 innings, 31 this year in just 16 innings pitched. But he's given up 9 walks in the 16 innings this year, and his ERA has been elevated to 4.5. Now, look, bullpen arms, your ERA can go way out of whack with one bad outing. There's no question this guy strikes guys out, but he's not that, at this point, he's not the lights-out guy that you envision your ultimate closer to be. But because he's got those wipeout pitches, you're enticed by that. And would I want to trade for a guy like this that has this kind of upside? Absolutely. Feather him up and see if you can corral what he's got. You got to, I mean, those numbers are just eye-popping.
And you're not going to get him for a 30-year-old catcher who's hitting below the Mendoza line.
No. No, but might you get him for a catching prospect?
You might. I mean, that's where you get into the.
Here's Lorenzo, or
Yep. Concern is shortstop, specifically Trey Sweeney. He's capable and has had big moments, but there are too many inexplicable defensive lapses, air-mailing throws, and botch routine plays. He's not enough of an offensive threat to live with those defensive issues. Yeah, I mean, let's not forget they were a playoff team with him coming over and manning the shortstop spot a year ago. It'd be good to see him play a little bit more consistently, but I'm not worried about Trey Sweeney yet. I'm also, that's going to be a hard position to find an upgrade.
Yeah, but here's what happens. Because he's left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Javi's right-handed. Parker Meadows comes back. Parker Meadows goes back to center field. The Javi can play the games at shortstop or at third base. Or, Veerling's in the mix there too at third. But this is where that versatility comes in. This is why it's so important Javi's been able to hit. Javi going back to shortstop is just fine.